and it is officially time to start. So welcome guys, welcome to Los Cristianos de Tenerife. It is 5 p.m. and we are live. It is Sunday the 8th of October 2023. And for anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Nathalie, and without further ado, let's go. Let me flip this camera. Oops, what did I do? Let me flip this around. So I've decided to start here because right here across the street, see where it says parking, in May 2011, there's a gentleman that ran here. He was running down with in his head a fake head, in his hand, sorry, a fake head, you know, like a Halloween prop, you know, full of blood, like just hair on a head. You couldn't see any of the face because it was full of fake blood. And he was screaming, "That's my treasure, my treasure. God is on earth." Now, of course, everyone believed it was a joke because it looked like a Halloween prop. Although it was May, so it was not Halloween at all. And we're talking late morning, so very, very busy streets with holidaymakers, with local people going shopping. Oh, you used to own an apartment on Tenerife, Trista? Oh, nice. Yeah, there's a lot of people buying here, a lot of expats. I don't like the term expats. I call them immigrants. Because I think it's deeply unfair, you know, like if a British person goes to work in China, he's an expat, right? If a Chinese person comes to work in the UK, he's an immigrant. I mean, I choose to live and work in the UK, I'm an immigrant. But because I'm white and I went to university, some people might try to call me an expat. I'm no expat, I'm an immigrant. I hate the term expat, I think it's very judgmental. And if I used to be called Patrick and live as a male, then if I had changed my gender and became a lady called Nathalie, then I would indeed be an expat. But at the moment, I consider myself an immigrant. Anyway, let me show you this lovely little statue here. So this is a little monument to all the fishing families that used to live here before the town became such a massive holiday resort. This is the Centro Cultural. That's where my mom comes and learns or tries to learn Spanish. They've got a Spanish lesson for all those expats. Anyway, let's get back to that head. Unfortunately, it was not a theater prop at all. It was not a fake head. Very sadly, most of the witnesses mistook it for a head because no one could possibly imagine that such horror would happen. The head was actually Jennifer Mills Westley. She was a British immigrant. She was a completely innocent lady, 60 years old. She owned a couple of apartments here in Los Cristianos in Port Royal. It's about 20 minutes walk from here. She used to live in one and she was renting the other. And one day she went to the supermarket, I'll show you again, just straight ahead in the corner there. And out of nowhere, this, should we go? Thank you. People do let you go here. It's quite amazing, and you don't have to rush or anything. So yeah, out of nowhere, this gentleman came and stabbed her 14 times in the shop. So it's all caught on CCTV and everything. He stole a knife, and he literally beheaded her with tons of people around. And then he ran down the streets with the head going, "My treasure, my treasure." So very, very shocking scene. That gentleman suffered from schizophrenia. Now, it's very important to remind people that not everyone suffering from schizophrenia is dangerous, you know, because I know some people with the condition that kind of suffer from that terrible image of being dangerous, you know. But yeah, horrible case. it is, it is a very safe location, but of course, you do have this type of cases could happen anywhere, really. The terrible thing is that the gentleman was semi-homeless. He was from Bulgaria. The criminal, I mean, they already knew that he had a bad rep with the police. He had been harassing ladies in the nightclubs in Las Americas. So Las Americas, it's the next station. Lethargy, that was in 2011, so not long ago at all. Jennifer was from Norwich, completely innocent lady. And so yeah, he had been arrested before because of misbehaving with ladies in Las Americas. Las Americas today, so the two resorts today are completely linked to one another. But Los Cristianos, where we are now, yeah, British lady Jenny, Norwich, yeah. Los Cristianos, it is, how can I say, it's an actual town. There is a little bit of history here. Not much, but a little bit. When really Las Americas, it's been built for tourism, and particularly British tourism. So you can get a lot of baked beans on toast, or fish and chips, or whatever you are into. Las Americas is potentially a little bit younger than Los Cristianos in terms of people visiting. There's a street called Veronica's Strip, which is full of clubs. And some of you, if you are from the UK, you might have seen Veronica's Strip on TV. There was a show on Channel 4 a while ago, like maybe 10 years ago. I think it was called British Tourist. And they would follow the police officers in foreign countries where the Brits tend to get a bit intoxicated. And there was, well, at least an episode here in, well, not here, but in Las Americas. And they followed the Spanish police dealing with those drunken young people. Well, talking about drunken young people, I actually met one the very first night I arrived. This is a lovely little church here from, I think it's 1924, they first had it. Nuestra Señora del Carmen. Anyway, yeah, the first time I arrived, the first night, it was about 1:30 a.m. My mum came to pick me up at the airport. And as we got just off the motorway, there was a gentleman there. Well, I said gentleman. I don't know what they identified as. They were a bald guy, quite masculine, but he was dressed with a dress and he was waving completely. He looked very intoxicated to me. And a few seconds later, we parked, and we're in the middle of the night, you know. I opened my door, but we didn't get out of the car straight away. And then someone grabbed the door and opened it for me. So I just screamed. I believed it was a carjacking or something. And actually, no, that was just a Scottish guy, completely intoxicated. He just wanted a chat. But we both of us, we jumped. So you can find quite a few people from Britain, usually quite intoxicated here, because a lot of the resorts are actually all inclusive. So people do get very drunk. And anyway, so let me tell you a little bit more about Los Cristianos. So as you can see today, you still have a few older buildings here. It was a town, it was a little fishing village. When I say little, I mean little, because people didn't really live here. It wasn't Paul. No, it wasn't Paul. Although I would like to see Paul in a dress. I wish Paul was here, but no. So yeah, it was a tiny little village, a fishing village. But the Spanish people at the time didn't really live here because it's much hotter here in the south than it is in Santa Cruz, where we were yesterday, because of the position of the mountains and the Teide. The mountains and the volcano, they kind of attract a bit of the clouds and the humidity. Here in the south, it's very, very hot and very dry. And it was a very tiny fishing village. When I say tiny, for example, according to the records in 1888, that's one of my favorite years, of course, in history. Why is 1888 my favorite year? Do we know? (1888), and here is the beach. No, exactly, Jack the Ripper. So yeah, to give you an example, in 1888, French Revolution, no. It's at the time in Los Cristianos you had 28 houses and one cave. That's it. So much smaller than it is today. And we've got a bit of art here. I don't really know what it represents. It could be a whales. There's a lot of whales watcher here. So yeah, much tinier than it is today. And in 1924, they managed to have irrigation system. So they started to grow some tomatoes and banana. So with the agriculture coming around, then you had a bit of workers coming as well. And see the ship in the middle? That's the Viking ship. They do cruises to go and see the whales and the dolphins sometimes. So yeah, then a few people moved in, but it was still very quiet. The gentleman that really started tourism here, that was in 1956, if I remember right. He was from Sweden. His name was Bent Rylander, but Spanish people call him Don Benito. He suffered from multiple scoliosis, and he had the idea to come here. He thought with the very dry climate, it might be good for his condition, and it actually very much helped. So he went back to Sweden, and he used to be a writer and a TV presenter. So he went back to Sweden and he basically told everyone. And that's how Los Cristianos became a bit of a convalescence center, really. People came here with whatever condition they had, maybe osteoporosis or whatever condition. And it evolved still today. It is the most wheelchair-friendly holiday resort in Europe, really. It's all been built to be wheelchair accessible. So if you are in a resort here somewhere in Los Cristianos, you want to come to the beach, you always have a ramp. It's very convenient. And we are now on the port. So it used to be a little fishing port. Today, that's where you have the departures to go towards La Gomera. La Gomera, it's another island. That's where Christopher Columbus stopped on his way to America. He couldn't really stop on Tenerife because Tenerife was not fully taken over by the Spanish yet. They were still fighting with the Guanches. When I said the Spanish, it wasn't really Spain as it is today quite yet. It was the crown of Castile, because at the time Spain was not really fully united under one single crown yet. Lovely view here. That's the photo stop. A vat of nuts. What did I miss? Let me find the Virgin. We have a little Virgin here. That one is tiny, but there's a massive one underwater. Let me show you. So that's the Virgin del Carmen. I don't know why Spanish people, they always have a lot of virgins everywhere. But that's a tiny Virgin, but would you believe there's a massive one underwater? They've basically dropped down a big one, like maybe 1.5 human, 600 kilograms, I think it weighs, under the port. So the port is down there. So underwater, 40 meters down, you have a Virgin del Carmen. She's there to bless the port and bless the sailors. I've seen a video online of divers that went to give her some flowers and stuff, and then they're praying underwater. It's quite cute. Anyway, let's go. I'll show you the other beach on the other side. So that was one of the main beaches in Los Cristianos, but it's really not my favorite because you've got the port and you've got those big ferries going to La Gomera. And you've got those, I've taken one of those boats going to see the whales. I've done a little video as well, I'll show you in a video. You just see the top of the whales really, because they don't really jump. They actually sleep, they live at night, but they have to come up and breathe even though they're sleeping. No worries, you are allowed to be late, it happens. So we're heading towards the main beach, the Playa de las Vistas, or Vistas. And welcome, Rose. So Los Cristianos, it's about 20,000 inhabitants. And it's a destination that you can come and visit all year long. So that's why it's so popular. You always have a good weather here. The only thing that can possibly happen, if you're very unlucky, you could have a week of bad wind. It's called the Kalima wind. It's a hot wind that comes straight from the Sahara Desert. You know, we're not far from the African coast. And unfortunately, that wind comes with a lot of dust, like red sands, really. You might know about it because we had a wave of it. Even it came all the way to London. Was it last summer? We had some Kalima going all the way up there. Suddenly, everything was red everywhere. So we've got some beautiful murals here to remember the past of as a fishing port. But yeah, usually if you come to Tenerife South, you've got for sure good weather, even in January. So that's probably the sunniest location in the winter in Europe. Right, I don't know if the signal might drop a little. Cool. And then we can go and have a nose, look at the menus, see if they're doing fish and chips or if they're doing papas arrugadas. See, all the menus are in English. It's very British. And if you want a full English breakfast here in the morning, you can. Most of those establishments actually do it. One of the dishes that you'll find everywhere as well, it's mojo. Mojo, it's a little sauce made with either green chili and garlic, or it could be red peppers and garlic and spices. And they have it with everything, but they usually have it with what they call papas arrugadas. It's basically wrinkled potatoes. So they are little local potatoes that have been boiled with a lot of salt. And the water is so salty that eventually the skin of the potatoes gets a bit wrinkled. So they have that special look. It's quite salty though. And this is Playa de las Vistas. So that's the main beach here in Los Cristianos. But now Los Cristianos and Las Americas, it's touching one another. So if I come back one day, I'll show you Las Americas as well. But I could literally walk from here maybe 45 minutes till the end of Las Americas. And all that seafront would be full of restaurants and people trying to approach you to sell you a pint of beer is €1. And that's why people tend to get a little bit intoxicated because trees on the beach. Well, Tish, do you know what I've seen on the beach yesterday? Graves. I'll show you in the video. I had been to that beach before, but I had not noticed the graves. So we always, we always think we'd like to be buried in an interesting place. Well, in Tenerife, you can be buried on the beach. There's a little wall, but it's literally on the beach. It's called Santa Andres. It's just above Santa Cruz. Anyway, let's look at the menus here. We've got photos. Let's see if we see the papas. Where are my papas? No, I don't see them anywhere. Oh, here they must be here. Hold on. Where are they? No, I don't see them. I've got the papas bravas, but that's not the one. I want the papas arrugadas. Anyway, let's find a place where I can put the gimbal down. Hopefully that'll be good enough here. It's not flat, but I've got a few specialties for us to try together. Well, not a few, just two of them. Oh yeah, Spanish tapas are everywhere, but the papas here are very different from the papas bravas in the rest of. Did you see them, Sarah? Oh, I've missed them. Well, we've got some more menus. We can go and take a look later on. For now, let me show you what I've got for you to try. Well, for me to try. Which one should I do first? Let's do this one. I've not actually tried before. I swear I didn't. I looked at it at home. I was like, I better try it live. It's gonna be more fun. So one of the specialty here is miel de palma. They call it miel. It's not actually miel. Miel is honey. So it's basically palm tree honey. Thank you. It's not honey. I heard it's very different. Did you buy it, Sarah? Because I didn't buy it. I found it in my mum's cabinet at home, so I don't know who bought it. But because they didn't finish it, I don't think it's very good. So let's try. Oh, I'm so sweaty. I'm struggling to open it. Oh, you did? How is it? No, don't tell me. Don't tell me. They call it savia. Savia is sap, but it's actually called miel de palma. Okay. Smells a bit like maple syrup. Should I go with a full spoon? Why not? It does taste like Marmite. Oh, that's weird. It's like a sweet Marmite. I didn't expect that at all. Okay. It's interesting. No, it's not bitter, it's sweet, but a little bit like almost like salty, like Marmite, or like something that you'd put on a, I don't know, on a salad more than a cake. It does look a bit like Marmite. I don't know if you guys put the Marmite in my head on a night. I'm tasting Marmite, but yeah, interesting. I wouldn't necessarily buy it, but yeah, I suppose you could try on pancakes, but I think it's probably better with salty stuff. Anyway, if you do come, so that's from La Gomera, so that's the island that you can go and visit from here. I've been to La Gomera when I first came here, maybe 7 years ago. Right, my other specialty that I know exactly what it tastes like because I had it before. What is Marmite? Oh, I guess that's a very British thing to compare it with. Marmite is brown stuff made with yeast, and it's a very particular taste. People say that it's genetic, whether you like Marmite or you hate it. I don't love it, I don't hate it, but it's a very interesting particular taste as well. So if you do come to the UK, you have to try Marmite. Right, second thing to try, banana liqueur. So as we mentioned earlier, there's been a lot of banana plantation here. I think bananas, they're from Asia, China maybe, but we started planting them here. And I expect this to be very sweet. I've also tried banana wine, That I suppose is very good if you like wine. I don't, so I've tried it just because I wanted to try, but I ended up making a banana spritz. So I've mixed the wine with some tonic water and then some Aperol, and that was much better. Anyway, let's try the banana liqueur. It's gonna be very warm because it's been in my bag and it's 35 degrees at the moment. Right. I forgot. It's like the well, I don't know whether you had the same cough medicine when you were a child, but in France we had this little, you know, it's a little syrup you have when you have a cough. Well, probably a bit stronger because it's about 30 degrees. So I don't know whether you'd give that to your kids, but interesting. I'll have a good sleep on the plane if I finish it. Do I love it? I wouldn't say I love it. It's very, very sweet. Right. It's actually hard to see the screen because it's very bright. Oh, your son made some banana wine at home. Oh, interesting. That's quite cool. I've never met anyone brewing wine. Oh yes, I have actually, one of my former bosses. It's quite difficult to brew alcohol because you have to get some water that is not chlorinated, because if you get tap water, it's full of chlorine nowadays. You can also let it evaporate. If you let it evaporate for a while, then the chlorine goes away. Anyway, I'd like to find another menu where I can show you my papas. Let's walk until I find them. Well, to be honest, Jenny, if I didn't know that it was banana wine, I wouldn't have noticed. To me, it tasted exactly like normal white wine. And I'm not a big wine drinker. That's why I've been banned from France and I had to move here. So to me, it was nothing special, but it's cool to know that it's made with local bananas. What is one of my favorite 5 a day? Well, I do like my bananas. I do like them. Right, I want some menus with photos. I want to find my papas, arrugadas. You like red wines better? Let me run because there's music, and if it's copyrighted, I might be in trouble. I'm just running away from the music. There we go. Did you hear the music on the mic or not really? Oh, there's no more restaurants for a little while now. Well, never mind. I'll show you my papas in the video. I've had some the other day, so you'll see my papas in the video. Let's just go unfinished by the water. So see, we were talking about accessibility. Here you could come all the way down here if you had one of those mobility scooters or just a wheelchair. And they usually always have those chairs to help you go into the water if you cannot walk. So it's very inclusive indeed. And they used to have those mobility scooters on the pavement as well. Everyone was able to rent them. But it was a bit of a mess because people would do it for fun, you know. People would come down here and for a day they'll rent one of them, and then it was just too busy. The pavement was almost a bit dangerous because you had those mobility scooters everywhere and some people being a bit drunk and driving them dangerously. So they stopped it now. You can still run them, but now you're meant to have some form of a disability or injury, or maybe be overweight, some kind of an excuse to run them. Officially, I think some people still manage to have them. I don't know how, but it's you don't see as many of them as when I first came here 7 years ago. I think it was. They were everywhere, those mobility scooters, because people found them very fun. So it looks a bit like Skegness, really. Skegness on the sea. Yeah, Well, you know what? I hear they can actually be a bit. If it's all flat, it's fine. But if you have a bit of a bump on the pavement or anything, you can actually fall off a mobility scooter. It is possible. So it doesn't go very fast, you know. But yeah. It's not quite sunset yet, but it's already quite a cool lighting. And you can see it's still busy. It's October, but it's busy all year along here. Alright, let's go and put our feet in the water to finish the tour, and then we'll wrap it up from there. There we go. I'm gonna get wet. Right, thank you for coming today, guys. Have a good evening or good morning. And see, this is all fake. This has been imported from the Sahara. Otherwise, it should be black. Most of the beaches in Tenerife, it's black sand because it's a volcanic rock. So this has been imported from the Sahara to make it a golden sandy beach. And thank you very much for coming. Thanks ever so much for anyone that was able to leave a little tip as well. I know I'm in a paradise-like destination, but it's still a bit of work to create those tours. So thank you very much in advance if you are able to do so. And if you want to see a bit more of me, I should be publishing a couple of videos this week because I've got a Bucharest video that I've not had time to finish, and I'll be doing one from here as well. And next Sunday, 4:30 p.m., we're heading to Deptford. So that's on the south bank of the River Thames. So that's Dark Deeds of Deptford next Sunday. It's actually quite hard to see the screen. Anyway, thank you guys. Have a good evening, a good morning, whatever time it is for you, wherever you are in the world, and keep YouTube-ing. And I'll see you soon. Bye bye.